20.2 points per game, 111 three-pointers, more than anyone else in the entire WNBA. A woman who dragged the Indiana Fever to within one game of the finals, without Caitlin Clark on the roster. And how did the Fever thank her? They erased her. Not traded, not released, something worse. They just stopped putting her in the picture. Literally. On March 17th, the Fever posted a St. Patrick's Day graphic. 3 players, Clark, Boston, Timpson, no Kelsey Mitchell. A week later, a countdown to opening night. Same 3 faces, same missing person. And then Mitchell posted this on X. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. That's not a woman who feels valued. That's a woman who just got the message. Here's what makes this so much worse than a normal contract dispute. Kelsey Mitchell has been a Fever player for 8 years. 8. She was drafted second overall in 2018, before the wins, before Clark, before anyone cared about Indiana women's basketball. She was there for the 7-year playoff drought. She showed up every single day when the franchise was the worst team in the league. And last season, when Clark went down with a groin injury after just 13 games, Mitchell didn't just fill in. She took over, career-high 20.2 points per game, a First Team All-WNBA. She led the league in three-pointers made. She carried that team past the Atlanta Dream in the first round and then pushed the defending champion Aces to a Game 5 in the semifinals. In that elimination game, Mitchell scored 15 points before she got hurt in the third quarter. Even after she went down, even after Aliyah Boston fouled out, the Fever still forced overtime against Vegas. That's how good this team was with Mitchell running it. And now, the franchise is acting like she doesn't exist. So why would Herb Simon's front office play this kind of game with their best free agent? One word: money. The new CBA just changed everything. The salary cap jumped to $7 million. The supermax is now $1.4 million. And here's the math that's keeping Simon up at night. Caitlin Clark is on a rookie deal right now, but next year she's eligible for a max contract worth around $1.3 million. Aliyah Boston just became eligible for a 3-year max at $1.19 million. Right now, under a new rule in this CBA. And Mitchell? She's earned every penny of that $1.4 million supermax. Add those 3 up, and you're looking at nearly $4 million committed to 3 players, out of $7 million total. That leaves barely $3 million to fill 9 other roster spots. That's the trap. And it gets worse. There's a rule in this CBA that says players with 7 or more years of service can't be cored starting in 2027. Mitchell has 8 years. That means this offseason, right now, is the last time Indiana can use the core designation on her. After this, they lose that tool forever. So Simon has a choice: core Mitchell for 1 year at the supermax and kick the problem down the road, or let her walk and hope nobody notices that you just threw away the woman who saved your franchise. And if this sounds familiar, it should. Because this is exactly what Simon just did to Sophie Cunningham. We covered that. He left her unprotected for the expansion draft. A fan favorite, a player who tore her MCL fighting for this team in 2025. Gone. Lexi Hull, a player who appeared in every single game last season when everyone else was getting hurt. Her future's in limbo, too. See the pattern? Simon doesn't reward loyalty. He calculates value. And the moment the math gets uncomfortable, the people who bled for this franchise become expendable. GM Amber Cox went on record saying, "The priority will be Kelsey Mitchell and making sure she remains in a Fever jersey." Stephanie White said Mitchell was the #1 priority, both last year and this year. Even Caitlin Clark herself said just yesterday that signing Mitchell back is our first priority. Everyone in that building knows Mitchell is essential. Everyone except, apparently, the person who signs the checks. Because if Mitchell was truly the priority, why is she missing from every piece of content the franchise puts out? Why does an 8-year veteran have to find out where she stands by checking Instagram? You have to understand what Kelsey Mitchell went through to appreciate how wrong this is. She was the 2nd pick in the 2018 draft, out of Ohio State, walked into a franchise that had just finished 15-19. The next year, 13-21, then 11-11 in the bubble, then 6-26, then 5-31, 5-31. Most players would have demanded a trade, asked out, checked out mentally. Mitchell showed up every day. She played in every game. She put up numbers nobody noticed because nobody was watching. And then Caitlin Clark arrived, and suddenly everyone cared about the Fever. But it was Mitchell who made Clark's transition work. It was Mitchell who spaced the floor, who drew defenders, who understood how to play alongside a generational passer. In 2024, Clark's rookie year, the Fever made the playoffs for the first time since 2016. In 2025, and with Clark missing most of the season, Mitchell kept them in the playoff picture by herself. She didn't just survive the worst years of this franchise, she's the reason the good years are happening. So here's where this goes. Scenario 1. Simon Coors Mitchell. 1 year, $1.4 million. She plays 2026, they make a run. And then next offseason, the core tool expires. Mitchell hits unrestricted free agency at 31 with zero leverage from Indiana. She walks, and the Fever get nothing. Scenario 2. They sign Mitchell to a multi-year max deal right now. Lock her in. But that means when Clark's max kicks in next year, the cap math implodes. Simon has to choose between depth and stars. And we've seen how that goes in the WNBA. Teams with 3 max players and no bench don't win championships. Scenario 3. Mitchell leaves. Toronto and Portland are both building from scratch with expansion money. Sandy Brondello in Toronto knows exactly how valuable Mitchell is. A supermax offer from an expansion team trying to build around a proven star? That's hard to turn down, especially when your current team won't even put you on their social media. And here's what nobody's saying out loud. If Mitchell leaves, it's not just about losing a 20-point scorer. It's about what it tells Caitlin Clark. Clark just said publicly, signing Mitchell is the first priority. If Simon lets Mitchell walk anyway, Clark's watching, Clark's learning, and Clark's free agency is coming. Kelsey Mitchell gave Indiana 8 years, 7 losing seasons, a playoff run without her franchise player, a semifinal that went to overtime in Game 5, with Mitchell leaving the court on a stretcher. And the Fever's response? They made a St. Patrick's Day graphic, and she wasn't on it. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time.